The year is 1973. You have just come home with your daughter from watching the scary movie. You put her to bed. You go downstairs, relax, read a book maybe. All of a sudden, silence. Not even a cricket. All of a sudden, you hear a boom. Your daughter starts screaming, ah, ah, help, help. You rush up there. You open the door. A cold, hard wind hits you. You don't understand what's going on. Your daughter's levitating on top of your bed. Then all of a sudden, she falls. Boom! Everything goes back to being quiet. You stand there and stare and wonder, what's going on? Did I just make this up in my imagination? Then out of nowhere, you hear a knock. It startles you. You go to your door. You open the door. It's themselves in the flesh, Ed and Lorraine Warren. Nobody called them. They just showed up and they tell you, this is the AMP program. Welcome back. And today, we're talking about the man, the myths, the legend, the Warrens. My Superman. You know, these are my heroes.
Well, you call them heroes. I wouldn't say so. We'll find out here in a bit.
Yeah, when I found out about like their true motives, bro, it was like, that scene in The Boys with the kid
With the A train.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt, bro. It was pain. These guys were my Superman, bro. I thought they were like the best of the best.
The real life Ghostbusters.
Yeah, when you saw like what they showed us in the movies, that's what I thought they were. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, the Conjuring movies.
Yeah,
wrote them out to be like these
superheroes.
These
Yeah. And then I got to researching on them, and they were, to say the least, they were it wasn't the best.
So how about we start back in the beginning?
Okay, so first of all, let's just explain. The Warrens, Ed and Lorraine, they're American paranormal investigators and authors associated with prominent cases of alleged hauntings. Strong on alleged. They are most well known for their involvement in the Amityville horror in 1975. They have been portrayed on the big screen in movies such as the Annabelle series and the Conjuring series. They were portrayed in the movies by Patrick Wilson, who played Ed, and Vera Farmiga, who played Lorraine. So how many other movies have you seen?
I think I only seen the Annabelle, the first two Annabelle series.
I think
The Nun. That's the same universe.
Yeah, yeah. Did they show? Oh yeah, they did. They did the whole Exorcist with that one dude, right? At the end.
Yes.
That's what they did. Yeah, yeah. It's just those two, Annabelle and the Nun for me too. I think we've seen them together, no? So Ed was born on September 7th, 1926, in Bridgeport, Connecticut. When Ed was 5 years old, he claimed to have seen a dot of light that grew until it became his family's family's landlady. No, it's
a maid.
I think it's more like a maid type of
maid,
shit. Yeah. So that dot ended up being his maid, apparently, who had died a year before. Ed recalled that she was semi-transparent, wearing what looked like some sort of shroud when she vanished. Soon after, Ed was having dreams of the dead relatives he had never met, including an aunt who would send him messages about his future, telling him that he would help many priests, but would never become a priest himself. Ed would later get a job as an usher at a movie theater where he would end up meeting his future wife. This, to me, seems a little bit of bullshit because it seems too specific and too on the dot. You know what I mean?
Too specific. I mean, I feel like that's what adds more credibility to his story, is that it's specific. He knows what happens.
So you're telling me with being a ghost, you can time travel? Because she saw the future, and she's like a ghost now or whatever, and she's like, yeah, you're gonna be this guy who helps priests, but you're never gonna be a priest. You know what I mean? Like that's a little bit of BS, but you never know.
You never know what happened. Maybe ghosts can see the future.
Maybe, perhaps.
Perhaps.
All right, so
So the wife being Lorraine Rita Warren, who was born in January 31st, 1927. Lorraine would also have claims that she could see people's auras,
Mm-hmm.
But she claimed to have so many abilities, like being a psychic, which would come into play later.
Hmm. In 1945, Ed would enlist in the Navy at the age of 17. He had only been deployed for a total of 4 months when he was sent back home on a 30-day survivor's leave due to his ship going down in the North Atlantic Sea. It was during this break that the couple decided to get married, then shortly after he returned to the war. It was after his military service, Ed attended art school and sold many of his paintings, which were mostly depictions of haunted houses and New England winter scenes. The couple would research houses they believed to be haunted, then drive to the house. Once Ed was finished painting the house, he would hand it over to Lorraine. She would walk up to the home and knock on the door, then give current homeowners the paintings. They would use that painting as a way to get into the house, struck up a conversation, and then they would start to learn about the properties and like what it went through and like the hauntings if there were any. This process would be a way for their investigation career to begin. That's how they would start popping off.
So if someone just came to your house and showed a painting of your house, would you let them in?
I don't know. Nowadays, no. Nowadays, no. Nowadays.
But would you do that?
Yeah, but back in the day, everybody was like friendly. You know what I mean? That was like the thing. And the painting's pretty good. Look at them. They're like pretty legit.
Yeah, I can paint better, but yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I've been wanting to buy a Bob Ross painting for like so long. Like, not even if it's not like his actual thing. But like the other day, I was just watching like a bunch of like Bob Ross videos and like his paintings. They were pretty cool, bro. I kind of want one.
And then in 1952, the Warrens founded the New England Society of Psychic Research, which is the oldest ghost hunting group in New England. The first case that would gather attention would be 20 years later in their hometown of Bridgeport, Connecticut, in 1974. The Warrens would find out about a case from a friend named Mary Pascarella, who contacted and informed them of a local residents, Jerry and Laura Gooden, were experimenting some paranormal activities. You ever seen that movie?
Wait, there was an actual film about it?
No, I'm talking about the Paranormal Activity films.
Oh, no. Yeah, I didn't go to the movie theater till I was like 16, 17, bro. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty whack.
But this ain't about you. It's about the Warrens.
The case in Bridgeport took several weeks during the late 1974. Jerry and his wife Laura, along with their adoptive daughter Marcia, were experiencing furniture moving on their own. City officials described experiencing the furniture movement along with the young girl getting slammed against the wall. During this time, the film The Exorcist was released. This would play a part in people gathering in front of the small home hoping to catch a glimpse of the unusual activity going on in the home. It was rumored that the home contained talking animals and strange noises. The large crowd would be the first time that the Warrens would experience such a large media presence while they tried to do their work. Eventually, a Bridgeport police superintendent would call this event nothing more than a hoax, which would lead to the crowd losing interest in the home. And then you have like the home here. I guess that's like the crowd. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that like we have these pictures, to look back on.
All these pictures, but no video of the talking animals.
I never asked you, do you believe in the demons and paranormal activities?
That's a good question. I think I do. But I do, but I think a lot of the popular ones are hoaxes. I feel like it's more like on the down low than people make it out to be.
I think that like demons and like angels and all that stuff is true, right? But I think like they don't have as much power. You know what I mean? Like they don't have like to slam the girl against the wall. I don't think that's because the way I envision it is that like the girl's just standing there, right? And then like she just gets yanked to the wall. That's what I envision when I hear that. And I don't think like maybe to open a drawer or like close it, maybe fling like a utensil. Yeah, I think those could be true. But to like have the power to like just whip like a young girl across the room is like, I don't buy it. You know what I mean?
So it's important to note that the Warrens would try to rule out all logical or physical explanations before agreeing to take a case. They did not just take anyone's word when it came to experiencing supernatural. Ed would visit the scene and use every avenue available to rule out any logical explanation before working on a case.
Which, I mean, that's pretty that's pretty like, how do I explain it? Like it's a reasonable. I mean, it's reasonable for this type of case. You know what I mean? It's like he's like, okay, this doesn't work and this doesn't work. What else could be possibly happen? And when he does that, and he's like, yeah, it couldn't have worked either. Then okay, maybe it was. You know, that makes sense to me.
I feel like him doing all this really helped get the idea that the supernatural was actually happening.
Yeah, like it kind of like how do you say it? I guess solidified that they were like there was actual things going on. Yeah, yeah.
The couples were devout Roman Catholics and would eventually be recognized as the only Catholic expert in demonology. How cool would that be to be the one and only expert on
But I'm
demons?
guessing this is the town, no? In the town, I
I,
would assume.
from what I researched, it just said that he's the only, which is probably like written down just to hype.
Kind of like to get that under his belt, pretty much.
Their faith included an inherent belief in the supernatural and the world beyond. The Warrens would often work closely with the Catholic Church during multiple exorcisms. So, do you know how an exorcism is performed?
Well, I think it's just a priest, though, and he has to like do these like prayers and shit, and be like,
Yeah,
"I need you to get out of this body now," you know. Well, that's from what I've seen in the movies. That's my.
uh, I forgot the name, but there's like this very famous case of an exorcist going on where the little girl was pretty much starved to death because of it,
Oh yeah.
which made exorcism controversial.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, I remember. Wasn't it like Marie or something like that?
I can't remember at the top
Yeah,
of my
but I
head,
know.
but I remember. I think there's audio recordings of it.
But like it never leaked, right? They kept that shit to themselves, or was that no?
Yes, it's considered lost tapes or lost
Mm-hmm.
media.
Um. So we have a séance, which they did, and then a exorcism, which they can't do because they're not priests, right?
You want to explain what a séance is?
So a séance is when a meeting takes place in which people try to contact the spirits. The word séance is typically only used by outsiders. In the religion of spiritualism and the religion of divine metaphysics, it is generally a part of a service to communicate with living personalities and the spirit world. The preferred term for spiritualist is receiving messages. So this would kind of be like playing the Ouija board, no?
Yes, so Ouija board
Or
is
like
a séance.
Or like when they have like that one tape and like it's like shh, and then you hear like the word or whatever.
No, I don't think that's not a séance. A séance is when like you're grouped around. Everyone's in a group and asking
Yeah,
questions.
like in the picture right here.
Yes, like you ever seen those like in cartoons where the lady with the crystal ball? That's pretty much a
Yeah,
séance.
yeah.
Which do you believe in that?
No, I think it's bullshit. I mean, I have to do it to me to believe. You know, I have to see it to believe it. Pretty much. Like, I don't really none of like the people playing the Ouija board and stuff. I don't think that's real.
No, we can buy a Ouija board right now.
Yeah, but you know,
Made by
see,
Hasbro.
I don't, I don't think it's real. But I also am not
You're not gonna risk it.
willing to risk it. You know what I mean? Although it says you can close the portal and nothing bad happens, but you never know. And then an exorcism is a religious or spiritual practice that involves evicting demons, jinns, or other malevolent spiritual entities from a person's place or object that is believed to be possessed. The person who performs the exorcism is called an exorcist, and they may use prayers, religious materials, gestures, symbols, icons, or amulets. An exorcist is often a member of the Christian church or an individual thought to be graced with special powers or skills. You think people levitate? Like in the picture?
In real life, no, I don't think so.
Because like in this case, here, look, I'll read it and we'll see. You'll give me your thought after. So in the case of Carolyn, my bad. Carolyn was the central figure in this case in 1970 when her and her husband, Roger, along with their 5 daughters, moved into a 14-room farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island. It was built in 1936. It was in the property that the Perrons experienced a series of strange events, including objects disappearing, unexplained filth, and beds shaking at 5:15 a.m. Also, 5:15, I think it was the time that the dude killed his parents in the Amity house. I think that was the time. I don't remember. I don't think if I put it down in here or not, because we'll talk about it later on. But apparently, like the time 5:15 is like something bad, or has to do with like demons. I think it might
I
have been that time
know
or another time.
I know 3 a.m. is considered the witching hour, but
It might have
I'm
been
not sure
3
about
a.m.
5:15.
Might have been 3 a.m. But I don't. I think it's 5:15. I could be wrong though. But since they like emphasized it, like where I looked it up, they had it down at 5:15. Anyways, they also smelled rotting flesh and heard unsettling noises. After some investigation, the Warrens conducted a seance, which led to Carolyn being possessed by a malevolent spirit. It was reported that Carolyn levitated off the floor and spoke an unknown language before falling back down. This event would almost kill her. So you buying it? You buying the story?
So who were the witnesses? Just the Warrens or the whole family?
I think the Warrens and the family,
See,
or
I
not
don't
the
buy it.
minus the kids.
I don't buy it. Okay, so this was one of the most popular cases about haunted house, but I think their most well known case is the Annabelle doll. The Annabelle doll is a Raggedy Ann doll that was gifted to a young woman named Donna in 1970. Over time, Donna and her roommates began to notice strange events around the doll, such as the doll changing position on its own, and eventually the doll's behavior began to escalate as the doll appeared to be moving on its own and leaving messages written in blood. Donna and her roommates contacted a priest who determined that the doll was possessed by an evil spirit. The doll was taken into custody by the Warrens, who would keep the doll secure in a special glass case in their occult museum. And according to claims, starting from Ed and Lorraine, the doll possessed by an evil girl named Annabelle Higgins. So, do you believe this?
There was this when I was researching, right? There was like people leaving comments on this like little website, and some girl was like, "There's this video online, and it's of the Annabelle doll moving by itself." And at first I was like, maybe, maybe. Let me check it out. And in the video, it's legit. It's just the doll sitting in like one of the wooden chairs with like it like curves for like your back, and then it has like the bars down. It's like an old fashioned chair, typical chair you see it, and she's sitting on it, and then like the doll just sitting there, slumped over and stuff, and she pops up and then like turns, and then she just flings up in the air. And I was like, yeah, that's totally real. To me, see, I don't think they can do that. I think it's more like just like kind of like budging, maybe, if they can get possessed. But I don't think, that the whole thing because it says that she killed, no?
There's this story that I think Donna's boyfriend was attacked by the doll. And another one where these bikers were making fun of the doll in the museum, and all these bikers got in like this huge car accident, killing them. That's the alleged story behind it.
See, I think that's real. I think that could be real, actually. Like her like putting bad luck on other people, that demon. I think that's possible. The doll itself attacking the boyfriend, that's like she can't be that strong.
So
That's,
like, if we look at the actual Annabelle doll, it's not from the movies. It's not the made of porcelain. It's
it's like cotton, filled with cotton. Yeah.
How is that gonna beat up a man?
Also, there was another story when they went Ed and Lorraine went to go pick up the Annabelle doll. I think you've heard about it. Like on their drive back to their home, the car would be like swaying back and forth or whatever, kind of like causing Ed to lose control or something. And if I remember correctly, he just stopped the car and like I forgot what he did.
Holy water.
I think it was holy water, and maybe like strapped her down or something, and like the swaying stopped. So now, do you think that story is true?
So I'm a debunk everything, because remember the story about the whole bikers getting in an accident?
Yeah.
There are no records of any of that happening. There's also no records of a person named Donna. All these stories come from Warren themselves. And another thing is, you know how they keep in a glass box because it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's so dangerous, they still bring her out and show her off on like Vegas shows.
But
So that
is she still in the glass
she is not
case?
in the black glass
Damn.
case.
Maybe Ed is too powerful. You know.
And then the fact that the Annabelle doll, the Raggedy Ann doll, is possessed by a girl named Annabelle. What a coincidence! And
You
then
never know.
there's another thing that I was searching up, and it's not even a real Raggedy Ann doll. It's a counterfeit.
Oh,
So
that doll there.
yeah, it's just not a real doll made by the company. So it's just a load of baloney.
You're breaking my heart. You know, I was already heartbroken when I found out later on, like that maybe they weren't real. You know.
And the reason why I find the Annabelle case so funny
Hmm.
is because have you ever gone to TikTok and searched this stuff up?
No.
Well, if you look at the comments, you see a whole bunch of comments saying, "I'm sorry, Annabelle. I did not mean to see
Oh
you,"
yeah, dude. That I
which is
told you
the
about this.
funniest thing ever.
I told you about this. I think that shit's like the stupidest thing you can do. You know, that's like that's cringe inducing to say the least, you know? Like it don't, what's it gonna do from you from the other side of the screen, you know what I mean?
I just like the idea of the Annabelle doll scrolling through TikTok.
Oh, and oh, yeah, I get like they're talking through it after she's gonna read the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dumb, bro. I don't like that shit.
Well, let's talk about a more
Okay,
serious
yeah.
case.
This case, you know, unlike some of these stories, this case was actually happening. It's a pretty tragic story. It did involve the Warrens, however, and we do got to talk about it. And it begins with a 23-year-old man named Ronald Joseph Defo Jr., who would commit the crime of killing his parents and four siblings. And after he would do this, he would rant to a local bar, and according to the trail transcript, said, "You got to help me. I think my mother and father are shot." The failed the failed junior initially blamed the mob hitman, but after intense questioning, he admitted to committing the murders and clearing up the evidence that implicated him. My bad, I couldn't see the word. If I remember correctly, he would like they were just chilling, sleeping, right, and I think he woke up, and I think it would have been 3 a.m. And apparently during this whole time he was like out, like he had no recollection or anything, and he just like shot the whole family pretty much.
Okay, so he blamed it on a demon.
I think he blamed it like I think it was the devil or something, because I think the devil made me do it was based off this. I could be wrong, but I think after this he ended up pleading. I think it was
Insanity.
yeah, he ended up. I think he ended up pleading insanity, but I think he still ended up getting
Arrested.
yeah, arrested. And in December 1975, George and Kathleen Lutz bought the house. They moved in along with their three children before Christmas. George asked a Catholic priest to bless the house, which he did. According to the Ansons, the Amityville horror book, which features the Lutz tapes recorded in remembrance, they said Father Ralph called them on Christmas Eve and told them he heard a voice telling him to get out during the blessing and that the family should stay out of the second floor bedroom where the default parents resided. From that moment on, the family would experience a rash of incidents in the house that were so frightening that it would lead to the family moving out on January 14th, 1976.
So this would be known as the Amityville Horror, right?
Yeah. Which also, it's pretty crazy that they like stayed in after like the priest is like, yeah, there's like something in there,
Yeah, I wouldn't take
and
chances.
it told me to get out. You know what I mean? Instead
Well,
of being like, hey, just don't go in that room. You know, why not just leave the house? You know what I mean? Sell it and leave it.
so after the Lutz family had moved out, so they did move out.
Yeah, they ended up moving out like 20 something days later.
Oh, so that's reasonable then.
Yeah, I guess it was too much what they were going through.
So this is when Ed and Lorraine came in, right?
Yeah,
Came into the
after,
picture. And then they investigated, took several photos, and one of the photos is like this. I'm not sure if it's popular, but I remember seeing it. And it's a picture that supposedly has a ghost inside of it.
hmm
The ghost being like the brother,
yeah, I think it was the younger brother.
younger brother. But the thing is, it might be fake,
A hoax.
a hoax.
Bum, bum,
Because a
bum.
lot of people believe that the picture actually shows Paul Bartz, which was an assistant to the Warrens.
Yeah.
So, do you believe in this picture?
Nah.
No.
Nah. Because apparently, if I remember correctly, uh, Ed said that he had a bunch of photos of like ghosts and stuff, but like he never released them. You know what I mean?
I wonder why.
Yeah, it's pretty whack. And they just doesn't look like the kid. And like apparently, you see how like you see in like the third photo where he has like that plaid shirt, you can see through the rails.
Oh yeah, I get
People,
you.
people were saying like that was because apparently, this was him at the time, Paul. This is what he was wearing. And people are like, yeah, that could be him because you know how you can see like the plaid pattern going on. Although this one seems like a lighter shade, but I guess it's since it's like zoomed in.
It's probably the picture
Mm-hmm.
quality.
Well, anyways, along with that picture, some of the Warrens' well-known involvements with the supernatural would come to be debunked and widely accepted to be a hoax. Most believe that the Lutzes, along with the Warrens, made up the hauntings. After the Lutzes' time in the house, many people would stay in the house and claim to not have experienced anything out of the ordinary. However, the Lutzes, along with the Warrens, claimed the house to be the most haunting location they would ever visit. In an article posted by the Seattle Times, Kathy Lutz's son, Christopher Quarantino, at the age of 37, during the interview claimed that the haunting was not a hoax. He does, however, say George would exaggerate the paranormal activities that would occur in the Amityville home. The Warrens would go on to profit considerably from this situation as they would serve as story consultants for the 1982 The Amity Horror 2, a prequel about the DeFeo murders, and The Conjuring 2, which references the Amity exploration.
So now, do you believe that the Amityville is actually haunted? Because George says that the things did happen, but they're not as exaggerated as the Warrens say it is.
Yeah, the Christopher, that's the kid.
No, Christopher.
He's the one that said it. He's pretty much said that like, yeah, these things like small little like movements or something happened out of the ordinary, but it wasn't as big as George would claim it to be. Apparently, you know.
Yeah.
Which is like what I mean. You know, like you can like maybe like something like shifts or something. You know.
Yeah,
But
it makes
nothing
more
like,
sense than someone being thrown around.
Yeah, you know, which I do believe that could happen because you know people think that like houses hold memories. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I've heard that before.
And like you know the whole family being killed in the house. You know I'm pretty sure there'd be like some bad vibes going on around the house and stuff. So I think it could be true that you know maybe like footsteps around the house or something like that. But nothing really that bad to be like the most haunting thing you know they would experience.
So the Warrens would publish many books about their investigations throughout their lives. One of the most famous one being Dark Place, or
In a
In a
dark
Dark
place.
Place.
Yeah.
And then it was co-written by Ray Garton, and Ray Garton is the fiction writer, pretty
Yeah.
popular writer.
Mm-hmm.
So it describes the investigation and the incidents regarding the family of the no, it's the Niedeckers. The family was said to be seeing a whole bunch of ghosts because their homes used to be mortuary.
It's pretty much a funeral home or like a morgue, you know.
Yeah.
Which would okay before like we move, would you live in a place that used to be like a funeral home or a morgue?
Well, has it been renovated? Or
I mean,
are the like the coffins still in there?
no, I'm pretty sure it had to be renovated for it to be called a home. No.
I wouldn't take the chance. Even if it was renovated, you never know what could happen.
What if it was blessed?
I still wouldn't.
Damn. Yeah, same. Probably me too. You know, just the bad vibes going on. The Warrens not only knew the whole thing was likely a hoax, but would tell Garton to invent whatever details he liked to sell the story. And then this is what was in the article. You know what I mean?
Okay, so this is a quote by Garton.
Right.
So Garton said, "As I gathered all the necessary information for the book, I found that some accounts of the individual Snedekers did not quite mesh. They couldn't just keep their story straight. So I went to Ed with this problem.
And then this is what Ed would tell him. He'd be like, "Oh, they're crazy," he said. "Everybody who comes to us is crazy. Otherwise, why would they come to us? You got some of the story. Just use what works and make the rest up and make it scary. You write books, right? That's why we hired you. So just make it up and make it scary.
So Garten further insinuates in the interview that the Warrens switched their specialty from ghosts to demons because of the popularity of the movie The Exorcist.
Which I could see it happening. You know what I mean? Like them, like because before that first, like the first big case in the Connecticut, with the girl.
The haunting.
Yeah, they would just do like this small stuff, just kind of give the paintings to the people, and
And
hey, let me just research the house, see if there's anything going on. I think that's what they do. But then, after The Exorcist, and people are like, oh my gosh, I want to see
demons
something
and
move.
stuff.
Yeah. They're like, okay, this could work. And then they kind of like start doing this, a bunch of demons that are just like unusual stuff going on,
Yeah.
So, to summarize, the Warrens would get calls about places involving hauntings or paranormal activities and would go on to write books, perhaps exaggerate the truth, and make a profit of the people, then leave. However, even though they did profit from the books and public appearances, they never charged for investigating cases and would give some of the profits of the books to the families impacted by the cases. Do you think they would give like a good amount, or just like, hey, here's a little bit of like that big amount we got? You know what I mean?
I feel like they make it seem like it's a big amount.
Like they were telling
really
they receive like a little and then give them.
It's not a fraction of what they earned.
Yeah. The Warrens seemed to believe in what they were doing, even if they did tell a lie here and there. And people who would investigate them would often mention how nice they both were. Surely such nice people wouldn't take advantage of others, right?
Right.
And then this is like one of the one with Amityville, I think, In a Dark Place.
In a Dark Place, the book that they wrote.
Yeah, with Ray. That was his name, right? Ray.
So the next thing is going to be a little bit more serious, right?
Yeah.
So the Warrens taking advantage of people was not the worst thing that came to light involving them. In 2014, a woman named Judith Penny claimed that she had a 40-year sexual relationship with Ed, started when she was just 15. Judith was sometimes described as Ed's assistant or his liaison, and would claim that beginning in the early 60s, Ed Warren, who was in his 30s, began grooming her. In 1963, at the age of 15, Ed Warren moved her into the Warrens' home in Bridgeport, commenced a full-blown sexual affair with Lorraine's full consent. This would go on until Ed's death in 2006.
I don't know if I talk about it here, but they ended up meeting because Ed was a bus driver back in the day. That's where he would like get some income. And he ended up, I guess she was one of the people he would pick up.
Wasn't a school bus driver, was he?
I'm not sure. I just said bus driver.
Bus driver?
Yeah, so you never know. It could be city bus, school bus.
Probably a city bus.
Judith would end up becoming pregnant. According to Judith, Lorraine persuaded her to have an abortion because the birth of the child would become a public scandal and could ruin the Warrens' business. And I think during this time, some of the movies had come out, right?
The Conjuring movies.
No, they weren't. I guess it was just more that they had that repetition going on of being like these
yeah. Because I know there's a bunch of movies up to Amityville.
Yeah. Lorraine would never comment on the situation and would eventually pass away in 2019. When Judith first moved into the Warrens' home, she stated that she stayed in a room directly opposite of the couple's room until Ed built her an apartment above their home. Judith said he would spend one night downstairs and the next night he'd sleep upstairs. Imagine like building a whole ass, apartment just for the girl.
For the girl, that is, how much money did these guys have?
They probably were balling, bro, because I'm guessing their books were doing big money. Big. And they, I mean, if you had enough money to build like a living station, I'm pretty sure this would like just solidify the fact that they probably give like the other people a small amount of money. You know how they said they would like compensate them for letting them research the house, so they probably just give them like a little bit of money and kept like most of it to themselves. The year Judith moved in with the couple, she was arrested after someone had reported her relationship with Ed to the local police. According to her November 2014 declaration, I'm guessing this is when like she spoke out about like the relationship she had. She spent a night in the North End prison in Bridgeport while police tried to persuade her to sign to a statement admitting to the affair. Judith would refuse to cooperate, so she was ordered by the court to report to a delinquent youth office for the next month. According to Judith's account, Ed would pick her up from school every week and drive her to the mandated meetings. Judith has said Ed told her many times that she was the love of his life. The Warrens, according to her, presented her variously as a niece or a poor girl whom they had taken in out of charity.
And these are the people that you call your heroes?
I didn't know this. I didn't know this. Okay, before I called them my heroes, I didn't know this.
Okay, so Ed
I
Warren.
looked up to these guys, by the way, at one point.
Ed Warren would eventually die in August 23rd, 2006, at the age of 79. He died from a stroke, and then Lorraine Warren would die on April 18th, 2019, at the age of 92 in her sleep.
Towards the end of their lives, the Warrens owned a museum which is now owned by their son-in-law. You can visit the museum, which is said to contain various items they collected and claimed were defiled by evil. The collections would contain everything from an alleged vampire's coffin to a child's tombstone used as a satanic altar. Death curses, demon marks, and psychic photographs line the museum's walls, accented by Halloween store bounty of plastic props. However, the most prevalent items seem to be the cursed Raggedy Ann doll by the name of Annabelle. And here it is. Also, I saw a picture because I was like looking at pictures of like the museum, and I was trying to find like the child tombstone that they said, and there was this one, but it looked fake.
Is it
So I
this
was like,
one
nah.
in the picture?
No, I'm guessing that's the vampire.
The
coffin.
vampire, which also
Yeah.
looks fake.
I mean, it's just wood. You can't really fake. And then some of the figurines there.
They do look like Halloween props.
Mm-hmm. From Spirit Halloween, perhaps. Also, I think, let me look this up real quick. Ed and Lorraine had a daughter, right? Which is not really important. It's just more that, she married the guy, and the guy ended up taking over the museum.
The museum.
But check this out. The daughter's name was Judy.
So, on the topic of Annabelle, there's another thing I need to talk about her. So, the whole story of Annabelle is taken directly from an episode of a show called The Twilight Zone. In the show, this guy finds a doll that slowly starts moving by itself.
Uh-huh.
And eventually he finds out that it's haunted by a demon. And then the thing is that the wife in the story is called Annabelle. And we know the Laurens, or Ed Warren, was a fan of the Twilight Zone. Which again leads me to believe that this story, one of their most famous story, is a hoax.
Damn, that sucks, man.
So as we close out, do you believe that the Warrens actually believed in the supernatural, or were they just doing it for the money? Because there's a lot of stuff that seems like they believed it. Like the fact that they would do investigations for free.
Yeah, I feel like they did believe. Kind of like how it's cool to let the mind wonder. You know what I mean? It's cool to like, maybe this could happen, But like, and these guys were like the main people who were like kind of feed into the idea that it is possible. But then these things came out, and it's like, man, maybe it's not. It's cool to still think it is, but damn, because they were. I mean, from the movies. My thing is that the movies
made them.
Yeah, and the movies were like my main source of them. You know what I mean?
Of them, and they appeared very heroic.
Yeah, very cool. And then it sucks, man. It's the worst.
I think when the Conjuring movies were being made, one of the requests that Lorraine like flat out said could not happen is the appearance of Judith, the girl who
the one
who Ed had everything. And I think that confused a lot of the producers because they did not know why. Like, okay, what's so bad about her? Until this came to light.
Yeah, this was also one like the main points as to like that kind of like leads more into it being true. You know what I mean? The fact that like they wanted to hide her even from the movies. But
Yeah,
if I remember, they did mention her in some of her books that she was in staying with them and stuff.
I think they said that she was a babysitter.
But then to the other people, it was like, oh, it's just a cousin, or it's just this poor girl we took in. That
No,
it just sucks, man. I'm kind of like more upset, which I shouldn't be, but it's like, damn, because it kind of like I'm kind of one of those people that like to wander. You know what I mean? Like I like reading about conspiracy theories or listening to them. You know what I mean? Aliens and all that stuff.
yeah.
And this is another like big thing, but it's like maybe it's not possible. You know what I mean? And they kind of that whole thing kind of like kind of like bums me out. Not like a lot, but it's still like kind of like man, that sucks. You want me to send us home, or you want to do it?
Let's send us home.
I'll send us home. All right, that's been it, guys. Thank you for watching. Listen to "Linger" by the Cranberries. Go to song, and we out. Swag.